Ira, congratulations on the film, a really lovely ensemble piece. And you
Thank you.
always seem to either write or co-write the screenplays for the films that you direct. I wondered how doing both those roles works for you. I mean, do you see them as two separate roles, or does it sort of merge into the one?
I begin a movie with an idea that I feel excited to live with for a long time, and that I feel like will constantly be a discovery for me. I sense that I, in a way, make three films in the process of finishing one. So I write a film with my co-writer, Mauricio Zacharias, and you kind of think that's the movie, but it's not. Then you shoot a movie and you think, oh, that's the movie, but it's not. The movie is what you edit, but that's the third time you come to resolution. And each time I bring myself. Each time I bring as much of myself as I can to the process. So I've never felt that I would be maybe the best candidate to do a work for hire, because I don't have enough at my resources to access instinctually. And when I make the film and write the film, I can always use my instincts.
So you'd never consider directing somebody else's script, or indeed getting somebody else to direct your script?
I have never, I wrote two scripts for television that weren't made, that if someone else wanted to direct, I would be comfortable with that. I think that they could, one of them I actually think they could do better than I could have done, just because the kind of genre of the work was not maybe my skill set. So in terms of directing other people's scripts, I have looked, and I have in times wanted, but it's just I've never felt inspired enough to think I could do a great job. I remember having a job when I first got out of college. I was a theater director, and I directed, someone hired me to direct an opera by Scott Joplin called Treemonisha with children in New York City. And I was really bad at it. Just being hired, I hadn't picked the opera, so I just didn't know what to do with it.
You were talking about the three stages of the film. I've read that you don't tend to have rehearsals before you shoot a film. So that kind of means that the first time that you hear your dialogue spoken is when the actors are in front of the camera. Is that right?
That's correct. What I have done is I've sat with each actor individually, and we have read through their scenes, but I've been all the other characters. So I've never, and I really ask them not to, when we do that, not to act, to try to not perform, just to read. And, I like, and by the way, I'm not many directors have worked this way. I just watched Journey to Italy, Mussolini's film with Ingrid Bergman and George Sanders. And supposedly he gave them the script like the morning before they shot in the afternoon, often. And I think it's a really wonderful way to get what you want in cinema, which is something that cannot be repeated. As soon as you rehearse it, then you're trying to repeat yourself. And what cinema is trying to capture is what is unrepeatable.
And there's also that sort of theatrical element to it, I suppose, thinking about your theatrical background, because no two theatrical performances are ever the same. They can't.
I think, right. And when you say you don't rehearse, I block the film. So often what I think is the rehearsal happens on the day on the set, because you are blocking in a theatrical director kind of way. Walk here, walk there, move there, move there. I mean, you're not just saying good luck. You're actually giving them the tools they need to do their work as actors, but you're doing it like 20 minutes before you shoot it, so it doesn't become fossilized. I also find that if you do rehearsal, the actors begin to try to perform for the director. So I don't want that to happen. I want the actor to be present with the other actor.
I did feel there was something quite theatrical about Frankie. In fact, to the extent that I almost expected to see that it was based on a play. Mm-hmm. And it kind of made me think of Chekhov a bit, to the extent that Brendan Gleeson's character I felt could have been plucked straight out of a Chekhov play. He really seemed to sort of belong there. So I wondered how much you were aiming for that sort of theatrical structure with the film.
Well, Thank you for that. And because it was part of our intention and which was, we came up with a structure which by nature was artificial, because it occurs from the boundaries of time were the morning to the afternoon. So, and then within that, we had 9 stories to tell, each with their own arc. So that is a theatrical construction. It's almost like, it's almost like Shakespeare. I thought of Shakespeare more than Chekhov, because Shakespeare sometimes, I mean, not to say I'm not making a comparison, only because there is this idea that like, what play will we put on as a cast of characters? And also there was this idea of this Eden, which is Sintra, which is this kind of magical forest where things that were going to happen there were going to be both real and not real. And I think that tension was very important for us.
I wondered if you were building up a little bit of a sort of repertory company of actors for your films, like, Marissa Tomei was in Love is Strange, Greg Kinnear was in Little Men.
Yeah.
So presumably you'd quite happily work with Isabelle and or Brendan again.
Very, very, very happily would to work with those actors, as with Marissa and Greg and Paulina Garcia, Alfred Molina. I've worked with on 2 films. It's, I think it means that you begin to have a language that you're familiar with, and also you know them as people, and you can imagine them in different situations bringing different things.
So what are you working on at the moment then?
I'm working on a film called Passages. It's about a couple, 2 men who've been together for about 15 years, and the woman that one of them has an affair with. So it's a love triangle.
Okay.
I like to think that it's a remake of Visconti's last film, The Innocent.
So is that set abroad, or are you back on home territory for that one?
It's to be determined.
That's very tactful of you. Pandemic permitting.
Ask me tomorrow.
Oh, right, okay.
meaning it is a film about it is a film about intimacy and relationships, and it could happen in a couple of cities. So we're figuring that out.
Okay. We'll look forward to that. It's been lovely to talk to you, Ira. Huge privilege.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you for
really
these nice
enjoyed
questions.
the film. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.